Hello, good morning everyone. Today is Wednesday, 14th of June 2023. We are in campus in Marylebone Road, University of Westminster, School of Management and Marketing. This is an activity within the Service Research and Customer Experience group. And we have a series of seminars, workshops, activities. And today we're very lucky to have here that Professor Dimitrios Buhalis. He was working here some years ago. Now Enrique Viñé, who is a visiting professor, Liverpool Trust visiting professor, will introduce Dimitrios as a speaker. So Enrique, please.
Okay, thank you, Professor Ridalva. It's really hard to introduce in, let's say, less than 3 hours Dimitrios Buhalis' CV, because he has been in this university, by the way, some years ago, and now he's in Bournemouth, and he's an expert in terms of strategic management and marketing, with a special focus with the technology and in very amazing and very complex fields such as tourism, hospitality, travel, and leisure. And he has published, hundreds of papers. In fact, he has been cited as the top cited author in the last 3 years in the fields of tourism and travel. He is among the top 3 most cited researchers in those topics. And for giving you an overview of his recent papers, he has published a paper on a very old technique such as chat GPT first, and other very old-fashioned things such as the Metaverse and legitimacy. So thank you, it's a great pleasure for us having you here, and thank you for coming and staying with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Enrique. Colleagues, wonderful to be back here. Who is working? You're all working at Westminster University, right? Who has been the oldest here? Who has been here for the longest? How long have you been here for?
Well, I used to be in the media school.
Okay.
I did postdoc over there, so that was 2005.
Okay, I first arrived here 1995 on the 1st of January, actually 31st of December 1994. Someone had invited me to a very nice party, and it was raining badly. So the only way I could escape the rain was to come in front of the university. I had no idea what was going on. And I said, what is this place? Oh, university. Oh, Westminster University. Oh, how wonderful. 5 months later, I was interviewed. And in July or June 1995, I got my first academic job here. And I'm trying to remember the name of Professor Roman, who was the provost of this campus. And my boss was Professor Alan Jago. My office was just above these seats there. And actually it was, sadly someone had died, and they gave me the office of this person, and I had his bank checkbooks, and I still have his clock.
Ooh.
So I stayed here for 5 years, from July 95 until September 2000. And it was my first academic job. I was appointed on a 0.4 lecturing post, and 3 months later, with my colleague Deborah Grieve, we went for a senior lecturer position, and we did a job share for the rest of our period together. So I stayed here as a lecturer for 3 months, and then I was promoted to senior lecturer, and the rest is history. So just a little bit of deja vu for me. I was coming here last night, and it was kind of memory lane, and I used to come, out of Baker Street. The tourists were there. Because I'm a tourism person, I could see immediately what was happening with tourism in London by looking outside my window, looking at the queue of Madame Tussauds, and all kinds of things. And then I became the chairman of the tourism teachers and trainers. And because of the central location here, we were in a position of attracting a lot of people that they were coming here, and they were having conferences. And I negotiated with Professor Roman that whatever conference I do, I don't pay overhead to the university, because I said this is your advertising budget. So you don't pay, I don't pay, everybody's happy. So that's anybody who is in tourism here? You're in tourism, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been here?
Since 2015.
2015.
Yeah.
So this is how tourism started here. There was a guy called Robert Maitland who started that. He actually retired some years back. And Deborah was the first appointment on a fractional level, and I was the second. And this Anne Graham is still here. Anne was with the transport people, but she was with us as well. This is a good fact. So that's a little bit of going back and déjà vu and working back. So since then, I've always been working how technology is basically changing strategic management and marketing, and how you can have what we call now smartness, smart tourism, smart cities, and all the rest of it. At that time, we used to call it a lot of different things. My first technology I had to deal with was telex and with dots. Now, most of you have no idea what it is. The technology that then came to revolutionize things was fax. Do you know what's fax?
I wanted facts before.
Yeah.
I wasn't expert.
I remember receiving my first fax, and I was saying, "Oh my God, this will revolutionize the world." And I did my first project. My professor in Greece, Nikos Litinas, got a European project about supporting small and medium tourism enterprises with telecoms. And I went to him and I said, "I want to work with you." He just returned from MIT. But what is telecoms exactly? For me, telecoms was telephone, was the bigger at that time, of course we didn't have mobiles, never mind about smartphones. But for me, it was answering the phone. And at that time, I kind of came up with an idea that said, imagine if we had one number all our life. So Buhalis, that's the number. Like my mom had the number until she died. All our life, 50 years, we had one telephone number. But I said, if instead the number is not related to the house or the office or the location, but the number is associated with the individual, and you go wherever, and at that time, hot desking started. So people were going around and they were saying, "Hi, my name is Binet, and I'm here, I'm on this telephone, I'm working on this desk, and that's my telephone for the day." So I had a little, and I remember exactly, I was on a boat going back to Athens from a Greek island, and I was saying, imagine if you can arrive somewhere and say, "Hi, Buhalis is here," and the telecom systems knew to divert all the calls to this number until I say I'm somewhere else. That was 80s. Now fast forward 2000, we've got a mobile phone that does amazing things wherever you are globally, and you still have one number. I'm very good at predicting the future. Very good at predicting the future. I'm very bad at predicting when the future is going to reach us. Okay, that is a different matter. So that's a little bit of an introduction. So Jose said you can have as long as you like. We have got these guys locked in for 5 days, so take as long as you like, right? I'll try to be an hour. I'd like to make it interactive. Some colleagues will probably join later on somehow. So if you've got questions, please let me know. A lot of people are asking me what I do, and I said I have no idea. Look at my Twitter. I always forget what I'm doing because I'm doing so many things, right? So the big things I'm doing is the Tourism Review, I'm editor-in-chief. This is the oldest journal in tourism, 78 years. I'm not 78 years old, hopefully. But I took over 2016, end of 2016, 2017, and now I'm editor-in-chief of that. The Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing, this was my COVID project. So it almost killed me. For 2 years we are locked in, and I was doing this, the 2 million projects job, 1,250 entries, 1,500 authors from around the world. It's 4 volumes, it's quite substantial. Then you see some of my latest books, the gamification, smart cities, sharing economy and tourism, and the gamification of tourism. That gives you a little bit of background of what I'm doing. I'm doing anything that is marketing, strategic marketing, with technology as an edge. And I'm kind of vertical on anything that is tourism, hospitality, travel, transport, whatever, theater, whatever you do that is cultural heritage, whatever you do that's not your office, that's not your home, it's mine. I'm not getting into your home, I'm not getting into your office, okay, your work environment. Anything leisure, anything that you go out playing bowling with your family, going to the pub, it's my business. And I'm dressing it with technology to make it competitive, to make it strategically competent, and co-creating experiences and making sure that everybody gets value out of this. So that's me and the encyclopedia, a very happy moment of my life. That's the 4 volumes, 2 million words plus, 1,250 entries, 1,500 authors, 3,528 pages. And the question I'm always asking is, how many kilos is the encyclopedia? What is the weight of the encyclopedia? The right answer is, it's so heavy, right? But it's how many kilos? You can answer to that later. That's the QR code, so you can order it. If Westminster University doesn't have it, please buy it. Now you've got. When you meet someone, you know who to ask for. Yeah. These are latest books, Smart Cities and Tourism, the sharing economy in the tourism industry, because a lot of these things are changing dramatically all over the world. And changing the way we're doing tourism, it's changing the way we are traveling. And the gamification for tourism. For those of you who are interested in Mediterranean tourism, we're organizing a conference in November in Malta. I very much hope to see some of you there. You don't necessarily need to talk about the Mediterranean issues, but you can talk about issues that they are dealing with Mediterranean. We're going to have a fantastic time. It says abstract deadline 30th of June. That's a lie. We moved it to September so more people can come. It's going to be an inclusive conference. We'd like to develop a Mediterranean network of people who are dealing with tourism in a clever way. We are not going to say the world over tourism. If anybody says the world over tourism, we'll call security, we'll escort them there, get them out of there, because there's not such a thing as over tourism. But we'll manage some clever ideas on how we're doing things. So, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
What are you doing?
Sorry, let me give you a hug, right? Are you well?
I'm good, thank you. How are you today?
Please have a seat. So, since it used to be my student, she's from India, and now she's going to tell me in a minute that she started the PhD, but I don't know where.
Oh, I'm going to start in Aurangabad University back in India.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so, a lot of people are asking me, or actually a lot of ministers say a lot of stupid things about what tourism is and what destinations are doing and why we're doing tourism. We're doing tourism to improve the benefits for the residents, for the local people. Okay, so we really do tourism for local people. We don't do tourism for tourists. If they could send us a brown envelope with a lot of money, we would love them. Okay. Now, the only problem is that they would like to get something back, right? So, what is the strategy? Is to create benefits for tourism, for local residents. In Valencia, if you don't have benefits for the local residents, you don't do tourism, right? So in order to do that, you need competitive advantage of the destination. To do that, you need the destination to be different, to be attractive, to be operating, to be professional, to do all nice things. So we can increase the reputation and develop the destination image and the brand, so people will really like to go to Valencia. Okay. And in order for tourism to operate, we need business models. I know that, are you a geographer? Are you a geographer? What's your background?
No, it's digital marketing and destination marketing.
So you're not fast. Okay, that's fine. Welcome. A lot of the tourism academics around the world, they're geographers. So they are looking at it from a resource point of view. I'm a management marketing person. I'm looking from a strategic management marketing perspective, right? So for that, for tourism to work, you really want business to work as well. And they really need to make money, and they need to have a decent return on investment. Otherwise, they'll invest on other things, agriculture, building airports, you know, airplanes, developing cars, whatever else they can do, an economic activity. So we really need to create investment opportunities and return on investment. And then you need to optimize resources. We'll come back to optimization of resources when you see tourism as a system. So, I was there about a month ago. Greek islands, Santorini, very romantic. Okay. Have you been? If you can, we take bookings later. So when you are going there, or when you see things of this, the next thing that you're thinking is this. No? So that's the first thing. So wow, nice, wonderful, right? The next thing that you're looking for is, can I be in the picture? Yeah? So that is my job. So when people are asking me, what is your job? It's to get you in the picture. It sounds wonderful and easy, but actually it's quite complicated. To take you all the way from here, all the way to Santorini, or to India, or to Valencia, or wherever, there's a lot of different things that need to happen. But actually, what's my product? Happy customers. Yeah? But if you notice all these white buildings at the back, I'm working for them really. The happy customer is supposed to pay for them. Now, in many places around the world, as far as tourism is concerned, we are not paying them enough, and we're creating a lot of problems for them. This is something we need to address. That's the sustainability agenda. Now, a lot of people I was in Cyprus last week. I was doing a presentation like that in a keynote in Cyprus, and I said, it's not only about people who are going. Why do people go? They're not only going on holiday. Quite often we're thinking holiday as the only reason why people are traveling. So this is a conference we did in 2019. This is Savas Perdios, who used to be the Minister of Tourism of Cyprus, and we're doing a lot of conference. So the MICE business, you know, meetings, incentive, conference, exhibitions. They're going for awards, they're going for events, they go for having wine, they go for training. This is Saudi Arabia. I'm doing a big project in Saudi Arabia right now for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Ministry of Tourism, and the digital thing. I'm doing that for World Bank. So we are traveling to do these things and to progress. Now, when you're traveling, you're effectively exporting culture, and you're exporting gastronomy, and you're exporting ways of living. Who likes iced coffee? The Greeks invented iced coffee. We used to call it frappé, which was Nescafé. You heat the Nescafé with ice. And now we're a little bit more sophisticated. We call it Freddo, right? So it's a kind of café con hielo that the Spanish have, but we make it more complicated. And you can have something that you can never have in Spain, Freddo cappuccino. Meaning, café con hielo, con leche, with milk. In Spain, if you ask for it, they look at you like, oh, you're strange, you know? Oh, you're gonna go to hospital. No? So in Greece you can have a friend of cappuccino. So this is the W Hotel in Kalamata in Peloponnese that they invited me over to have a look and see what's, how good is their coffee. And this is what happened recently. I went to Greece recently, and my cousin, she invited me for lunch, and she cooked that. That is what we call arakas, which is peas with tomato sauce. Now, a lot of people have just discovered veganism, vegetarian, and all this nice stuff. We used to call it Wednesday food and Friday food. In the Greek religious tradition, you are fasting on Wednesday and Friday. You are not eating meat. You are not eating. You basically have a vegan diet because you are a little bit cheeky. You have some feta cheese at the same time. Why is that important? Because that is exporting of the Greek gastronomy. So tourism is not only about you going away, but it's exploring cultures, exploring food, exploring all kinds of different ways of doing things. And this is my palace. This is the Buhalis Palace, belonged to my grandfather. And these prickly, what do you call them? Prickly things belong to me now. Please don't do this, okay? Greek National Tourism Organization is advertising that you're doing this. Please don't do it. I supposed to know how to do it, still did it the wrong way, suffered for 2 months. Please don't do it. Okay, and a lot of other people will go for red tourism in China, you know, for religious things in Mecca. The other new thing is pets, people traveling with pets because pets are the new kids and it's a huge kind of thing. People are traveling for wedding and they go to Santorini, they take pictures, people are going to famous islands. Tourism is very important for the 17 strategic development goals towards 2030, and it's actually impacting on everything. Now, we're just getting out of a very, very, very complicated and difficult period of COVID. Now, a lot of people don't know that tourism has been growing for 40 years. There's no other industry that has been growing non-stop for 40 years. With two problems with SARS, that was really an Asian thing, which stopped people traveling in Asia. And then the global economic crisis in 2009. But international tourism went down minus 74% because of COVID. So what happened is that a lot of the communities almost died because they didn't have activity, they didn't have customers basically. So that's been 2021, just after COVID. The minute I had 2 jobs, I started traveling and I went to Naxos. The reason I went to Naxos is to pay tribute to God Apollo. Because if you see, there's a little trick here. Now you know, right? But this was the best picture I could find that had culture, environment, visitor experience, a difficult kind of terrain that you had to manage. All of those things were on this rock that has got the god Apollo. That's on Naxos Island in Greece. So I kind of felt that I had to go there and celebrate a little bit, nice wine to do that. We are recovering from COVID slowly. Europe has more or less recovered. Asia is still struggling because China is closed, or China is opening slowly, okay? So China and all the other regions around have been really suffering. Tourism has been suffering because the way that COVID was dealt with. And no matter what, you are suffering. But the Western countries, primarily the UK, and now it's on the news now, how we dealt with COVID. But the more you go west, the more liberal they went with COVID, the more people they died in the beginning, while the more you went east, they were much more restricted because they are disciplined people. We are not disciplined. But what you find is that they suffered later on. So at some stage of this period of 4 years, different people suffered badly. So last year I was in Hong Kong, I spent a year in Hong Kong. It hit us just after Christmas 2022 and after Chinese New Year 2022, when everybody was going with their families and they're having what families have, and then of course it hit us badly. But we are in this stage, and different regions are in different stages, so we are getting there to go back to 2019. Now, before I talk about technology, this is what came out of the encyclopedia. And if you are my students, I would say this will be on your exams. Because it's actually bringing everything together. So the top bit is what we call the tourism system. It's based on Neil Lippia's tourism system, which in one side you've got the tourism generating region, on the other side you've got the tourism destination region, and in the middle you've got the transit region. So people are going from the travel generating region to the tourism destination region, Spain, and then you've got several things that are happening in the middle, what we call the transit region. To go from the travel generating region, you need transportation, you need information, you need distribution, you need information about accessibility, and you need, I say all of them. And technology is actually the bridge that brings you together. So this is how we are managing tourism as a system. Then you've got what we call equitable returns for resources utilized. Whatever resources are coming in, and there are a lot of resources in terms of economic, environmental, socio-cultural, all of those things that are coming in, they need to be processed in the system and they come out as value. Value, co-creation for the different people who are benefiting from tourism. So the local residents, the tourists, the distribution, the destination guys, all of those things are coming in, operated in the system, coming out as output. For this to work, you really need to have planning, management, strategy, understand the market forces, what's happening around the world, and what is the key factors, what consumers want, exogenous variables in terms of pandemics, in terms of climate, in terms of ethics, in terms of all of those things, and then the technology creates the infrastructure where all the system operates together. Now, I've just said 2.5 million words in about three minutes. Please read the encyclopedia. It's all of this stuff is in there. Actually, the editor's comment, the opening thing, explains exactly that and explains the complexity of tourism, how complex tourism is, and how really complicated it is in terms of marketing, in terms of strategy, in terms of technology and everything. There is no other industry that's so complicated. Some of you would have seen the last 2 or 3 days cancellations with EasyJet or British Airways. The minute that something goes wrong, people start understanding the complexity. Normally, we don't allow the travelers to understand the complexity. You can see the duck going like crazy, smiling on top. Hello, welcome. You don't know what has happened in the background. You don't want to know. And a lot of bad things have been happening in the background, right? But we make people enjoy their life, and we're a little bit miserable in our life because, you know, until everybody goes to bed, you cannot go to bed. Until everybody have a nice meal, you cannot get the chef to go away, and all the rest of it. So, I'm going to concentrate on the red thing in the bottom to make you understand what smart tourism is and how smart tourism is changing everything. Creativity is just about connecting things. You know this guy? Have a look on the computer he created. And then do you know this guy? And have a look at the computer he bought. This is 87. I bought this computer when I was at the University of the Aegean in Greece. That computer didn't have a hard disk. It only had a floppy disk. Now, some of my students currently, they don't know what a floppy disk is. You do? Okay, that's fine. And then, because the one floppy disk was not enough, and you were putting one floppy disk, then you're putting another one, I invested on a second floppy disk. Okay, This is my friend George's laptop at the time with 20 megabyte hard disk. Wow. A lot of these things are not. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that, I don't know if you can see in the corner there. Can you see the corner, all this paper, the printed paper that's hiding next to University of the Aegean? So I created the first flow of information and order. So information flow and material flow in a hotel. So I modeled a 300 rooms hotel based on my new toy. I had to do something with it, right? And I had to tell George that I had a better computer because I could design things. But also I had a wall. So my wall for all my student years was the model of a hotel and the flows. What is happening when something happens? You get an order, you get a reservation. What does it happen? It's very complex, really, really complex. But that's how I spend my student years. So fast forward, looking forward to 2030 and the vision. It's all about smart and agile co-creation of knowledge and value for all the stakeholders. It's how can we make tourism anthropocentric, centralizing to human, and value focused. How can we have empathy and community engaged? How can we get stakeholders, dialogue and progress? How can we have innovation, inspiration driven? How we've got technology empowered, how we've got connected and agile in real time. This is really my passion, connection in real time. How can we show to the world what's happening in real time? I'm streaming currently in real time. Entrepreneurial and holistic, globally aware and focused, always evolving, forever innovating. Because the system, the product, the value is constantly on beta. We cannot do it, close the books, go home. It's constantly on beta. Every single individual is a different customer, they've got a different context, and they operate in very different ways. So, that is my vision for 2030. I call it agile tourism. You can call it whatever you like, but it's basically a tourist model that understands the principles and the developments, and it's engaging in a whole range of different strategies to be agile and to be to co-create value in real time for everybody who is around, and create equitable returns on resources utilized. Smartness takes advantage of technology and creates interoperable and interconnected systems. Smartness is really about networks. A lot of people are telling me smartness is about technology. Smartness is not about technology. It's about smart networks. Okay? So it's all about bringing networks together that they operate as a network and they create value for everybody who's in the network. This engineering enables shaping of products, action, processes, and services in real time, in engaging different stakeholders simultaneously to optimize the collective performance and competitiveness and generate agile solutions and value for everybody who's involved. Smartness is the glue of interoperable, interconnected, and mutually beneficial systems and stakeholders, and provides the infrastructure for the value co-creation. Now, I know I'm telling you awful lot of things, but each of these things is years of research, but I'm giving you the reference. So feel free to take pictures. Jose is going to distribute a PDF later on with the presentation, or you can see that online, because in all publications we're explaining all these things. So what does make a smart city? It's about networks, it's about interoperability, interconnectivity. How do I connect a lot of different things? For the time being, most of the cities are not connected. The smartness is given by Google. If I want to come from Bournemouth to Westminster, Google tells me the different alternatives and I make a decision, right? And Google is collecting data from wherever data is. Some of this data is in real time, so it tells me how busy the motorway is. Some of the data is static. Now, in this country, and normally in the north, we're very good. Spain is very good. China is very good. There are places where they've got big systems and they work together. A lot of other places are not very good because their systems are not consistent, they are not up to date, they are not communicating with others. So trying to organize a trip on the Greek islands, going different ferries, it's a nightmare. Partly it will ever be a nightmare because of the weather, the boats are going different ways, they can go at different speeds and all the rest of it. So there is a lot of dynamic information. But when you've got a dynamic information, when you have got a situation, environment that is in a context that's very versatile and keep changing, this is when you need more dynamic information. This is when you need information to be updated in real time. If the information is constant, you know, what's the exhibits in the museum? They are not going to change for the next year or so. So you've got static information, you've got dynamic information. So the dynamic information is really critical. The Internet of Things and Internet of Everything means that we are collecting all the information, they are connecting all the information. And then you've got sensors and beacons. And the sensors and beacons, the sensors are collecting information, the beacons are sending information out. You've got social media and Web 2 and user-generated content that tells us a lot of things about what's happening. I don't know if you have picked up this accident, the tragic situation that happened in Bournemouth recently with the two kids that they drowned. You picked it up? Okay. Have you seen the pictures with the helicopters? Who created the pictures with the helicopters? It happened to be, I was in a meeting in a hotel, and I happened to get out, and I happened to see that there's something strange at the beach. The police or whoever had vacated the beach, and then a helicopter was coming down. Now, my old photography days, you know, let's go for reportage kind of thing, I went crazy clicking. One helicopter came, second helicopter came, and I'm a good photographer. I got a good position, I started taking a lot of pictures, I put them on Twitter, hashtag Bournemouth crisis, major incidents, all the media, people around the world, BBC, ITV, you know, everybody, CNN, everybody said, can we use your picture with reference? So if you go back, it says Buhalis, because I happen to be at the right place, and I created the user-generated content that actually was responsible in the way that I said, I don't know what's happening, but I know there's a major incident, otherwise there are not 3 helicopters on the beach, and I can see police, I can see, you know, as an operation was amazing, because in 20 minutes, they brought 6 ambulance, 1 unit that they can do operations there, you know, police, the 3 helicopters came, you know, it was really tragic, and of course, you know, 2 very young guys lost their life. But the user-generated content and real time, it was evident because everybody wanted information about this, and you had eyes on the incident at that particular moment. Then you've got technological enablers, you've got that support the value co-creation of experience. How do we do this? By co-creating value through customer and service dominant logic. So we're looking to what people need at different times. So yesterday it was 30 degrees, today I don't know, it's probably 27, 26. What people needed yesterday is very different. So I was looking early on that, that's why I love the tourism industry. You see what happened? Can you see in real time what happened? So these guys are waiting for Madame Tussauds, and they're waiting on the sun. So while I was speaking to you, I'm a tourism person inside, you know, I was looking at that and I said, oh my God, these guys are waiting in the sun. And I'm thinking, it's not that often, that's why they haven't predicted it. And then I'm thinking, someone is gonna faint, because people are not used to this. And now I can see Madame Tussauds has taken the queue back so it can be in the shade. I'm super glad for that. This is very smart. It doesn't have to do with technology, but someone picked it up and someone actually did something for it. In the vast majority of the situations, nobody would have picked it up. Well done to these guys. Real-time example, right? So that is the co-creation, and that is how we kind of look at what the customer wants in real time and actually provide that. Has it got to do with technology? Yes, in the sense that technology is supporting this, but it's more important that someone actually understands what is happening and they take action for this. So the technology there is they must have a prediction for the rest of the week. If is it going to rain, or is it going to be sunshine? Is it going to be 15 degrees, or is it going to be 32 degrees? Because the queue management needs to be different. I bet that what you're going to eat for lunch will be very different to what you will be eating if it was 17 degrees. So everything is changing, from menus, from the ways we're treating things. And this is drives us to what I call SOCOMO, social media context-based mobile, where you've got internal context, so this is the individuals, why are they traveling, what's their task, what's their company, are they familiar with the area, the topics of interest, emotional status, and all of these things, goals, what abilities, disabilities, allergies. And then the external context, which is the location, the weather, the social environment, the season, the political situation, traffic, emergency delays, all of those things. So here you've got the internal context, which is the individual. Here is the external context, which is your environment. And here you've got travelers, here you've got the industry. And here you've got the area of connectivity. So you've got social media, you've got context, context awareness in real time, and then you've got mobile devices that enables you to collect information and broadcast information. Okay. So this is what we call SOCOMO. In order to do tourism, you've got different layers. So this is the physical layer, the environment where you walk, you swim, all of these things. Then you've got the data layer where we understand what's happening. Then you've got the technical layer, and then you've got the business layer, and then you've got an experience layer. If all the pyramid works together, everything works fine. If something breaks in the pyramid, nothing works fine. So the experience is being co-distracted. Okay. Unless we understand what's happening in the physical environment, there's sun and people are waiting in the sun, and unless the data is telling us what to do, and there's a business layer where people are actually making decisions in real time, the experience layer is not happening. So this is in the latest book. Smartness is not about technologies. Technology is one element of this. Okay, so you've got technology here, you've got governance, you've got innovation, you've got social capital and human capital. Unless all of those things work together, smartness does not happen. And then smartness is not something that's happening on its own. You've got smart cities, what we call the 6 A's of tourism, which is accessibility, amenities, availability, all of those things. You have got competitiveness and you've got experience. So for smartness to work, you need those 5 things. You need the different layers, and you need leadership, human capital, entrepreneurship, innovation, and social capital. Only when all of those things work together, you can achieve what we call smart tourism. Because if you don't have the human capital to actually take the innovation, nothing's going to happen. So if your people are not trained and they don't understand, you may have the data that the sun is out, but if they're not trained to take the people behind on the shadow, nothing's going to happen. If you don't have the innovation, you're not looking for changing. If you don't have the social capital, it's the same thing. So at the end of the day, most of it is down to leadership, because you need leadership to understand what's going on. Now, when people are traveling, we've realized that people are co-creating their experience with face-to-face contact, but also online social contact. So currently, some people are watching us online, but also when you're traveling, there used to be a time that people will arrive in a destination and put their mobile on somewhere, locked away on the safety box, and they will not take any computer with them. They are not going to take any tablet with them, and they are going to come back to their computer 2 weeks later. If you've got kids, try to do that to your kids. It's going to be fun, right? You cannot take my smartphone from me. You cannot. I'm not going to have a good experience. I'm just going to be anxious, constantly looking at what's going on in my life, So what's happening? And that now, you've got face-to-face social contact, you go to the Greek restaurant, the real Greek, and you meet this guy and you end up being almost your cousin. Almost. He was born 50 kilometers from where my mother was born. Okay. And you take Jose, and Jose says, I'm going to have this. I said, no, you're not going to have this. You're going to have that and that and that. Let me take you to a gastronomy thing of Greece and get you to try different things. Now he's got the Buhalis menu at the real Greek, right? Because I am authenticos, right? Authentic. Authenticos Elinas. This is here. So this is the face-to-face bit that we did last night. But actually there's a online social contact because we upload some pictures. Gianpaolo Viglia says, oh, I'd like to be there. Cleopatra says, oh, I'd like to be there. Sometimes if you go to Greece and I see that you're in Greece and I see where you are, I say, okay, go 3 kilometers on the left, go to Vasilis and say, Buhalis, send me over. So you've got all kind of online and offline happening at the same time. Customer centricity, customer in the middle, but then you've got people who have got online social contact with friends, family, colleagues, service providers, peer, other travelers, local residents, DMOs. Now, Enrique, is the Valencia Tourist Board looking at everybody who is hashtagging Valencia to say, hey, we're here, we know what you're doing, we're going to help you. Yeah. And then the face-to-face, which is a classic thing. I talked about real time and I talked about nowness. Nowness is what we do to understand what's happening in a situation right now. You can go a lot of ways of doing that. Mentions, hashtags, sentiment analysis, trending topics, keywords, tracking, competitors, and location based. So real time is understanding what's happening in the location by looking at each indicator to see what's happening in my location and what can I do about it. Now, most of the tourism industry is not functioning like that. They are looking into statistics and they are looking into what happened last year. 3 months ago, so many people arrived on the airport. I'm not a historian, right? Why would I? Okay, I like to see the trends, but actually if you can tell me what's going to happen in the next 5 months, I can see what I'm going to do with my prices. Can I go up, can I go down? Can I do special offers or can I not do special offers? Can I attract people from Israel that they're having kosher? Or can I attract people from, Iran that they would like to have, a different kind of thing? Can I have people coming from China and give them hot water? Or can I have American and give them ice water? This is the kind of stuff I want to know and prepare for it. I don't want to know what happened 5 months ago. This is what happened. So now this is very important because we have competitive advantage based on price or differentiation, back to Porter, right? This is what we're teaching marketing people, right? If I get you out, you're not gonna look for the cheapest thing to eat, or you're not gonna, unless you've got an issue, you've got a special diet, you're not gonna look for something that's really different. You're gonna be looking for instant gratification. Whoever can get me an iced strong coffee very quickly, I'll pay whatever for it. And it doesn't matter if it's a Costa, if it's Cafe Nero, or whatever. I would like it to be a Costa, but I will compromise immediately because time and instant gratification becomes much more important than anything else. Okay, so that's the importance of nowness, especially in tourism. Because tourism are primarily hostile environments. you're going to a battlefield. Why? Because you don't speak Spanish, you don't know Greek food, you've never been to India or you've been to India once. Okay. Have you ever been to Korea? Anybody from Korea here? But do you speak Korean? Did you get lost in Seoul? Yes, thank you so much. The only way to get orientated in Seoul is by finding a metro station. Because it's in color, it's in English, it's in numbers, and it's in Korean. So you can find your way. Have you seen a map of Seoul? It's kind of, I used to be an old, who used to go with maps like this. It's a battlefield.
Yeah.
Would you know what to eat? How can you avoid eating dog in Korea? It's not that, you can easily be eating dog. That's a local habit. I'm not here to judge. I'm saying that you're going in a situation you are not familiar. That's good if you've got a medical emergency and you try to communicate with someone who does not understand what is your situation and you don't understand what they're saying. It's a battlefield. So instant gratification is really important. It's based on data-driven, customer centricity, experience enhancement, real-time co-creation. So those 5 things are coming together to actually develop. Now let's have a look on the paper we did with Ye and Sinatra. And then when you're coming to smartness, as we said, is not about technology. Technology is one bit. Then you've got people, you've got leadership coming together. And then you've got economic actors, social actors, technological actors creating that value co-creation ecosystem where you're bringing smartness. It's not one or the others. It's this space that the value is being co-created. And then you're coming down with smart innovations that they're happening across different bits of the community and the different bits of the economic activity. And then you've got smart tourism destinations by bringing those things into the tourism experience. So destinations need to learn how to operate all these things very quickly. So if something is happening like it happened yesterday, was it in Manchester or in Birmingham? Nottingham. So something happened yesterday in Nottingham. Now because I'm part of the World Bank, I got immediately an email, an SMS, declare yourself, are you okay? Major incident happened in Nottingham, are you okay? Is the destination going to look after the tourists? Something happens, right? Earthquake, COVID, sunshine, something is happening that needs attention. Who is looking after the tourists? Nobody. Okay. So this is something that we're doing with Alicia Bethune, who is doing a PhD with me on smart systems for improving the resilience, the response first and the resilience by understanding in real time what's happening at the destinations and making smart moves very quickly so you can improve that. Okay, all that introduction, we've got an hour here. I'm going to keep you for another 10 minutes. Okay, I promise. And then you tell me what to do. This is what I call the future proofing of tourism. Everything I've said so far is current. It's not something that is happening in the future. And I would like to talk a little bit about the future. And the future is very different from the past. Now, I say that, but at the same time, of course people would like to go away and have a wonderful time and come back. But the way they're going to do it is going to be very different. So, ambient intelligence, smart cities and smart tourism, artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, robots, bots, autonomous vehicles, drones, hybrid living and traveling in Metaverse. Hello. Are you in the right place?
Sorry?
Are you in the right place?
Yeah.
You are in the right place. Please take a seat.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah, please.
Oh. Yeah, I think it's thank you.
So,
Thank you.
you can see, just be careful there. Excuse me. Just be careful there of the camera, right? Thank you.
Okay.
So, this is the timeline of technology coming into tourism. I said earlier on that we start from telex and fax, and gradually we came all the way to virtual reality and eventually metaverse. Okay. So this is changing, and each element is adding to what technology is doing in tourism, and it's changing and adding to things that we can do with tourism. As far as artificial intelligence is concerned, you can see all the different systems that are emerging in the last few years, and we'll get into ChatGPT and what has been happening in the last four or 5 months, right? So ambient intelligence is the introduction of smart systems in everyday environments, but the systems disappear on the background in a very similar way that all of us are connected with mobile networks, but you have no idea where the mobile networks is. Now, if you look for the Wi-Fi, you can see the Wi-Fi because it's short range, right? So you more or less can see Wi-Fi antennas, but you cannot see mobile networks. So what's happening is that a lot of the technological developments are coming forward where technology disappears, but it facilitates a whole range of technological developments like artificial intelligence, machine learning, ambient connectivity, 5G, autonomous vehicles and robotics. All of those things, they assume an infrastructure in the background that operates at very high speed and supports a whole range of different developments. So, ambient intelligence pushes the markets and the activities towards smart, interconnected activities and marketplaces. And if you are not part of that network, you disappear. I remember 25 years ago, one of my friends changed their job and they became a plumber. And at that time, if you want business, well, you are in the yellow pages. Some of the young guys do not know what yellow pages are. Okay. So if you were not on the yellow pages, you didn't exist. So I created the first website for a plumber. I sat down and I created, and I said, Mike is a lovely guy. And I said to him, what is that people buy from you? And he said, oh, if they are, they need to fix their plumbing. And I said, no. They're buying trust from you. So what the whole website was, get Mike to fix your plumbing because you can trust Mike. And I asked him 2 years later, how many customers did he get from my website? 0. I told you, I'm very good at predicting the future. But I was too early. It was all word of mouth, right? But now if you are not in these things now, you don't exist, right? Because at that time, people were looking at yellow pages, they were asking for a reference. So we're going with the ambient intelligence, you've got customer centricity in the middle, and then you've got the Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, 5G, RFID, mobile devices, APIs, cryptocurrencies, sensors and beacons, pervasive computing, gamification, artificial intelligence and machine learning, all of those things supporting these guys to travel and supporting the local guys to deliver travel. So technology disappears in the background, but what comes forward is the value by bringing all these people to actually do this. So where we're going in the near future is artificial intelligence. Of course, ChatGPT has changed dramatically a lot of the things that we're doing. 45 of us got together and we wrote a paper. So what if ChatGPT wrote it? And it was a very multidisciplinary approach to do that. It's a huge paper. I think it's about 100 pages or so. It's a book, but it brings different elements from different people. So we're looking to what's going to do in marketing. So we're saying it's going to build marketing campaigns, it's going to do content marketing, content design, and chatbot-based services. It's going to be talking to people. So this is something that we just published that's bringing a lot of knowledge from around. And we say that it's going to be multimodal, it's going to pass many exams. I actually asked ChatGPT to write a paper on e-tourism, 2,000 words paper on e-tourism. It will pass my exam. Okay. It was not as good as Buhalis, but again, Buhalis would have taken 3 days to actually do this. He did it in 3 minutes. No, I really hated it. And people are asking, is it accurate? I said, give it a break. It's 3 months old kid, right? And it's learning really fast. It's reading really, really fast, right? It's going to be much more clever. And now we've got text, but you know, images, text, videos, audios are all coming together. And all of those things will kind of add knowledge. So I wrote on that paper, I'm the yellow author, right? All the others. I wrote on that paper the tourist bit. And I said from a demand point of view, it's going to be information finding, building itineraries, searching for services, specialized services, eliminating choice, because if you've got far too many, where should I stay in London? You know, 5,000 hotels. How can I stay nearby if my budget is this and I would like to do that and other? Dynamic itineraries and content sharing from demand point of view. Supply point of view, concierge services for consumers, marketing content and text, menu engineering and recipe development, fact-finding, identification of resources, social media and organization of own websites. So these are some of the ideas that we're going to see ChatGPT doing. And a little bit of more elaborate of I've just said from the demand point of view, it's really about search and looking for information. It's really about looking for suitable timetables and itineraries. It's context-dependent dynamic itineraries. So what's going to happen if this is happening? And gradually when ChatGPT and artificial intelligence is getting a feed of real-time events, because currently it doesn't do it, it's going to dynamically change your itinerary. Do not go there because it's going to rain. Or go there because there's a parade, or something happened today and they're going to have an orchestra is playing. And I can see a lot of people there creating content. So would you like to... So I was 3 weeks ago, I was in New Orleans for a conference on marketing, and I spent most of my evenings finding where is the best band playing. And of course you have local knowledge, you're asking the local guys, but I'm not sure if they have the best knowledge. I think the best knowledge was based on what people were sharing online in real time. Because the more sharing and the more development, the better reference would have been. ChatGPT offers the opportunity to combine a range of different sources and provide the comprehensive text answers that's quick and accurate information. The word accurate, I'll question it, but again, it's learning, right? And very important, in a natural language, in a native language. It's not me typing in what Google understands, but it's me talking to my natural language. Θα μπορούσα να μιλήσω ελληνικά και βεβαίως κανένας να καταλάβει τι γινόταν, αλλά το ChatGPT καταλαβαίνει. I could speak in Greek. Nobody would have understood here, hopefully. But ChatGPT would have understood and would have replied to me in Greek, right? Or whatever language you would like to have. And equally, from the industry point of view, it answers travelers' inquiries by generating information real-time, anytime, 24/7, assist the bookings and reservations, provide guests with information, assist with bookings and reservation process, personalized recommendations within their abilities, disabilities, and preference, create alternative itineraries, evaluate alternative planning planners, corporate companies, agencies, and things like that. Generate marketing content for everything, and develop content for websites and things like that. Anybody heard of Kalamata? Kalamata?
The olives, yeah.
Kalamata olives, right?
Lovely.
Kalamata? Okay, this is where my family is coming from. What do you know about Kalamata? Let's go to olives.
Good olives, yeah. Olives.
Olives?
Tasty.
So, olives. It's a very nice place. Until I've arrived here, you've never heard about Kalamata, and it was not in your destinations to look for holidays. We take bookings, right? So you wouldn't know anything about Kalamata. You are very clever human beings, you are in university, you are professors, whatever, you have no idea. I predicted that. So I asked Google, what can tourists with kids do in Kalamata? And what happens is that Google is giving me a list of different things which tells me, I think that you are looking for this. Go and find out if they answer your questions. Okay. Then I asked ChatGPT, what can you do with kids in Kalamata? And then ChatGPT came back with a list of things that is very structured, that says, here is the answer. Visit the what can I do? Visit the Kalamata Castle, walk along the promenade, explore Olive Museum, visit the municipal park with the different things, take a day trip to the beach, go to Verga or Ayos Andreas, enjoy the local cuisine. So here I've got a full comprehensive answer to my question and actionable things, because this is, bullish enough to tell me what to do. This does not tell me what to do. It says, I think these people would probably know what to do. So this is the most thing. What is the best way to travel between Bournemouth and Glasgow in months, and what is the cost? Simple question. Try to do it in Google. And this is back in March, right? I was supposed to go to Glasgow. What can I do in Paris as a blind person? So I start looking to things that are blind friendly. Can you suggest Greek gluten-free food? A list of different things. All that in seconds, right? And all that from a 3 months old baby. What can I do? Then I went to Riyadh. What can I do as a tourist in Riyadh? This is the things that Google is bringing me back. This is the itineraries that ChatGPT was giving me back. Do this, do that, and the other. What can I do if I'm a wheelchair user in Riyadh for 4 days? Different itinerary. Accessible itinerary. Tourist attractions, which are the big tourist attractions? History and culture attractions in Riyadh. And then give me authentic Saudi food and gastronomy in Riyadh. Gives me 4 or 5 restaurants. This is from Bing, from Microsoft Bing. Can you give me a Casper receipt? So it gives me that, how to do it. Yeah? And then you've got the image generator. This is a friend of mine who is doing a place called Parga in Greece. He asked on the left-hand side to see if I had neoclassical buildings in Parga, what would that look like? And then on the right-hand side says, what about if it was Parga in the outer space? And again, it created a lot of different images for marketing. Do you believe ChatGPT and all this artificial intelligence? No. This is fake images of tram running and being arrested. You can have anything fake. So we need regulation, we need all kinds of things to see where we're going to go. This is a good friend of mine called Lee Mallow. He sat down with his daughter, and in 7 hours he created a very unique, the Mr. Lee hotel collection with 5 unique hotels. He was going to somewhere where there's a volcano, and he was thinking, what if I create a volcano hotels brand? what would they look like? So he created the text, the brochure, the marketing thing, everything within 7 hours. Now my big thing is Metaverse. I've written about 6 papers on Metaverse so far. I can see people saying, oh my God, is Metaverse gonna happen? It's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen. I can guarantee you that. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. And it's not gonna happen in the way that we're talking about now. So now we're talking about my avatar, go to Enrique's avatar and have a conversation. I'm not interested. But having a conversation with Enrique being in Valencia or wherever he is and wherever I am, and have a near natural kind of conversation like what we have now, or you attending one of my class rather than just looking into a thin screen and that we cannot manage, it's where I see Metaverse going. Okay, and that will be the revolutionary. It will be in a situation where we live in digital twins and digital parallel worlds, and we are collecting memories in that data bank, memory bank, by collecting a lot of different things. This is a projection of where we started from conventional experience to technology-assisted experience, technology-enhanced experience, technology-empowered experience, and now we're going to a technology-illusive experience. So Metaverse is going to give us elusive experiences and immersive experiences. You'll feel it. You're not gonna see it, you'll feel it, you'll be part of it, you'll be inside. Okay, and that's the difference from what we've got now. Mixed reality and different ways of mixed reality and how the world is operating in mixed reality and augmented reality. And what we'll have is mixed reality and virtual, augmented reality and virtual reality be mixed and be experienced in the new Metaverse kind of situation. So when technology, content, and users coming all together to blend the future. I don't have the time to show you the video, but you're gonna see them later on. So this is before traveling. I'm collecting information. I'm trying to see, is the hotel I'd like to stay? Is this the kind of place I'd like to be? During, you're gonna have augmented reality because you're gonna see what do I see and how do I do more. And after, where you're collecting data, and this data will be creating memories for you. So this is on the papers that we've done about how you're doing the different things in different spaces, and it's all about understanding and making informed choices by experience to a certain extent, what you're going to experience when you get to the destination. And then you've got, during the physical situation, it's how do I understand what I see around me, especially in a cultural heritage kind of situation where you've got guides that are telling you what happened 5,000 years ago, but you cannot imagine really what's happened. So you're gonna have reconstructed experiences. So you go to Acropolis and you see a real experience or virtual experience of what used to happen based on historical data and things like that. And then you've got the after physical experience where you're going to have re-experienced places and recharging memories. It's looking to where have I been, what do I do? When I went to Iran, I went to this place and to that place, and I went to Isfahan and did that. In the old bad days, I used to take 10 films and shoot about 350 pictures, and we used to look into the pictures as a reminder of what we have. Then we had video, now we are streaming. What's going to happen next is that we're going to have memories of what happened with our real-time experience being memorized in memory banks, effectively. And then you're going to say, oh, I'd like to replay what happened when I went to Iran, or I'd like to see how was my daughter when she was 3 years old, and a lot of those things will become much more natural. So before, during, after, so all the industry needs to play with us. So an ecosystem is being developed to help us develop this before, during, and after, where suppliers of the industry, suppliers and destinations, and the public sector is coming forward to help us develop Metaverse applications. And then you've got communities and peers, these companions and friends, these special interest groups and travel experts, these other travelers I have been to Naxos, see my memories, so you can decide where you're going, whether you're going there or you go to Mykonos, and local people if you like to have interactions. I know I'm going fast. I don't want. This is a video about Chengdu in China, but they're playing some of this. I like that. Don't sit close to the television. You'll damage your eyes. Do you remember that? And then. So I love these things. This is a very nice video about Metaverse in Bali that shows you what to do, and it's some of the experience that you'll understand what I'm talking about. Do I like to travel with Emirates? How is Emirates? How is it to travel with Emirates? Should they invest another 3,000 to go on business class, or should they go economy? Please invest. It's a lot of these things that that you would have done in Disneyland, but sometimes you can do that. Now this is a conference situation like where we are now, and it's not about avatars, but you're going to be able to see who has. A lot of these things are happening for military or medical applications, because you need that kind of base. This is what they are developing in Riyadh. That's my favorite one. If you cannot take all these ladies to educate them, some other places. So I'm being asked, can you come to my university, in India in particular, they ask me now, must have had about 25 invitations to India in the last two months. I said, guys, I cannot do YouTube. Okay, so I'll go collect, selectively to some events, but so imagine that all these communities are coming to knowledge rather than not being knowledge. Last bit, autonomous devices and robots. We're going to be in a situation where robots are going to help us. This is in Hangzhou, some years back, 2018. This is last year in Hong Kong. There'll be a lot of the robots that are going to be doing a lot of the hard work. They'll be cooking. Now, the entire industry has got a major problem with cooking and with people in this kind of jobs. I tell you, he is not going to charge as much as the guy is charging. I don't know why people are still. So robots are not only anthropomorphic robots, they'll be bots like that, activated robots. It's a voice assistant. So we've done this research and we're looking at what people are using at home, what people can use in hotels, and how, and what is the bit that they're using in parallel. Because the beauty is that if I move to a place and I bring my own personal information, the place will know in advance what do I want to watch, what music would I like to play. I don't know if you've been to, I don't know, wherever, you go to Finland, do you really want to watch Finnish television in Finnish? No. Okay. So there is all this profile portability, that you are taking your profile with you and then you are talking to the people locally. So you go to a restaurant and they know your profile. So the menu that's coming to you is suitable for you, is not different things. And this is a robot tea that's creating tea, and if so the robot is dancing because it gives you tea.
Welcome to Robot Tea. I'm jellyfishing my robot. I won't have any leather Christina. Please give me a chance to serve you a drink.
I'd love to go to Spain and Manuel the waiter does a little famous thing. It has happened once to me in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. They've got a cocktail that when they bring that cocktail, I don't know what they call it, but they kind of, 5 people are bringing that cocktail and they have got a party, and of course everybody would like to see the party, so they order that cocktail and they come and they dance. So we've done research on adoption of robots with colleagues around the world, and the most important thing is the relative advantage, what benefits they bring. The second thing is the top management support. again, back to leadership. And the third thing, which is very interesting, is competitive pressure. If my colleagues have got it, if my competitors have got it, I have got to have one. And robots are going to be around. So this is some robots I found in Hong Kong last year in an exhibition, and she did the full medical analysis to me based on 10 questions, like my doctor would have been. But of course, my doctor is a little bit more clever. So when I tell them what I think they would like to hear, they say, "Nah, you are not doing this. You have not reduced your intake of calories to less than 2,000. The robot said, "Okay," since she was polite. Anyway, so these are other robots that are going to be delivering things. A lot of these things happen over COVID. Autonomous vehicles that will be driving us, and you'll be sleeping, and the car is going to be traveling. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. So this is drones. This is one of our graduates from Birmingham University, Gemma, that has created a drone that is finding someone who is in trouble in the sea. And then if I play the video, it shows the boat that's going there to find you much faster than if the boat was looking for you. And this is the flying taxi in Dubai that they are trying them. So you wouldn't need to have a taxi. You please buy the encyclopedia and the books. And that's it. Thank you very much. Almost an hour and a half, non-stop talking. That's not me. Questions? Yeah.
Thank you, that was very interesting. Do you do any research on chips? And I've heard that FDI approved recently Elon Musk's company to start research on chips integrated into the brain of human beings. That's kind of AI. I know it's not directly.
It's the next bit. I haven't done anything on this, but
because if we are connected to the augmented reality through chips, that's
we're gonna have so many more. Look, I've got to declare that I'm a technology evangelist, and I'm an optimist person. I see the glass half full. The more you connect sensory activity with computing, the more the computer can understand what you need before you actually express it. Okay, so that's the benefit of it. There are a lot of other issues that I don't have the time to get to in terms of who is using this information for what and what is the implications of this, which is phenomenally complicated. But I guess at some stage there'll be wearables and sensory information that will be coming from whatever. So this may be a machine that knows what is your blood pressure, how much you're sweating, how much how much you are hydrated, and different things. Or if you're driving and you're falling asleep, it's going to wake you up. The car is doing that now. So there are a lot of things that they are integrating in that kind of processes. But it's a very interesting area. But also it's a very dangerous area at the same time.
Do you think there'll be times, well, I'm sure there will be, when you can visit somewhere that's really, let's say 3 days to do it, it takes 5 days to get to some really beautiful spot, and you can do it virtually? Well, it's not as good, but it's quicker and cheaper. But the resort, how will they get their money? Unless I guess you pay for it. So $100 to do it virtually versus $4,000 to get on the plane.
There are 2 or 3 questions into that. One is the replacement effect. Would we replace real with virtual? My answer to that is that people will always like to travel in a real situation. And in fact, the virtual is encouraging the real. Because if I show you enough of Naxos, you will be begging to go to Naxos, or your brain will be begging you to take you to Naxos. So that's one thing. Second thing is, what are the situations, what's the context where people do not travel, but their virtual staff is or they travel virtually. I was listening yesterday on the radio, 50% of the people who live in London, they don't have the means to travel. They can never travel, they don't have money to travel. So some of these people will be looking into, and we did that over COVID. I don't know if you were looking at over COVID when we couldn't travel. I don't know if you were looking into any of the travel films or YouTube or whatever. I ended up looking to railway trips in the UK or Cornwall, anything that had a little bit of sea. I was privileged because I went down to Bournemouth and I was sitting by the sea and it was easier. But so some people will not have the means, some people will not have the health, some people wouldn't have the ability because they're looking after kids, elderly parents, whatever. And the third thing is the money and who is paying that. Depends how specialized the 3 Ps and what you're doing. You may be sharing cost, you may make a contribution. I was reading recently a Greek guy who went up on the Everest and came back, and he was explaining his experience. And it was so scary, and you're kind of, there were 4 people going up with the local guys guiding them up, and one of them, he said his oxygen system was broken and was not functioning, you know, one thing after other. So there were so many things that were happening that eventually it was really, really complicated. I can imagine that this guy is selling this through a streaming situation or afterwards to finance his next trip. So the 3 things, they're all interrelated, but actually there are 3 different things in this question.
Can I? All right, okay, I mean, all this great stuff that will be beneficial
But?
for, yeah, but.
I can hear about it.
So, what do you think could be done in terms of minimizing the consequences it's going to have on employability or upskilling the current or the future workforce?
Stop, just stop.
Okay.
I've got a really bad memory. So I need to answer one question at a time,
Okay.
because I wouldn't remember.
It was more like a comment / question because I'm not expecting an answer because I know it's a very
No, I've got an
complex.
answer. I'll have an answer whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Look, what we've found is that a lot of people do not want to work in the industry after COVID. So global tourism industry, hospitality, all of this is suffering right now with people who do not want to work in the industry. The reason why they don't want to work in the industry is because it's really, really tough. And the return is not as good as in other industries. So the answer is, yes, it's going to reduce jobs, clearly, but hopefully it will enable people to improve jobs. So if a robot can clean my plates and my pots and things like that, if the robot can answer stupid questions like 3 o'clock in the morning, how can I get cigarettes? And not wake me up as a receptionist. If the robot can identify someone who has lost their keys and say, I stay in room 302 and I've lost my key and 3 o'clock in the morning, and if the robot can answer the qualified questions to open the door so they don't wake me up, there are benefits. Okay. Would people lose their job? Yes, people will lose their job, but actually the jobs can be improved. And currently we've got a huge demand for people to work, and we cannot find the people to work in this industry.
Can I continue with the rest of the question shortly? And what is the lesson for us as academic institutions or knowledge-based institutions in terms of informing changes in curricular development and helping the future workforce adapt and adjust to that?
Okay. Most of the jobs that our students will be doing in 10 years' time have not been invented yet. In fact, our students know more than the academics because we're digital immigrants. I got my first mobile phone when I was 30 years old. My students know so much more about technological developments than I do. because they are born with it. So our role is really looking to the future and help them structure their mind of how to deal with agility, with progression and things like that. I think that is my approach to this.
Thank you.
Fascinating, congratulations, it was great. So I was wondering in terms of another technology, and I'm thinking in terms of NFTs and blockchains, etc. What is your expectation in terms of the value in the tourism industry, not in general terms?
I don't normally do this, but I'm not going to answer this. I don't know enough. This is an area that I have not, and if you see, I've never published anything about that, partly because I don't believe them, and partly because I don't know enough about them. So, next question.
I'm more in the first part of your answer.
Yeah.
No, I don't see the value for a customer, for a consumer, I understand it from a financial point of view and things like that. And
Look, I try to answer on things I know and I understand.
Okay.
And this is not something I know and understand. And I've got to say, from the beginning, because it's not. And a lot of people are asking. They were asking me about blockchains. Why you have not published about cryptocurrency, blockchains, and all? I said, not my area. It's out of the scope of what I'm doing for the time being. I don't know enough. I just don't. Rather than trying to improvise. Sorry. It's like the professor came along, gave you an exam, and you cannot pass, right? Perfect.
Thank you for the presentations. I'm just wondering, it's all about the data ownership,
It's all about the data.
Data ownership. So
Yeah.
also when they invent the new technologies, let's say by government or the commercial institutions, they probably have some purposes for something. What do you think of that kind of ethical implications?
Huge issue, again, not my area. I recognize it, I understand that we need to have regulation, we need to have ethical behavior and all the rest of it, but it's not my area. It's kind of, it's like cars, cars can transport you, do great things, entertain you, do all the things, but can kill you and kill other people. How do we manage that? We manage it through regulation by a code of acceptance of how we drive, licensing and things like that. But again, that's not my area. I don't want to get into this. But the danger is huge. I understand and I totally agree with that. The danger is huge.
So you mentioned briefly about the SDGs and sustainability, but you didn't actually go into it that much. Have you looked at that in terms of the work you do and how?
Yeah, we are looking into each of them. So no poverty, clean seas, for all of the SDGs. We just published a paper in Tourism Review, and we published a virtual special issue looking into what tourism has got to do with each SDGs. First, what tourism is doing with each SDGs, and then what technology can do to enhance that. So each of them, and I've got another paper I'm writing with Kathy Su in Hong Kong, which has been on my computer for a long time, and I'm doing one SDG and then the next one. So but the first thing is what tourism is doing with each SDG, and then what technology can do. So there's elimination of poverty. Okay, the first thing is how can you use tourism to alleviate poverty, and then the next thing is what technology has got to do for tourism to alleviate poverty. So it's each of them you need to go one by one, but it's critical both tourism and the technology element in tourism and smartness to actually do that. And what smartness is doing is bringing all of these things together in a way that creates comprehensive, holistic approaches in the networks to actually manage the SDG in a smart way. This is really, again, I'm looking for collaborators on a lot of these things that people are doing. You know, some people are looking gender issues. I've got people who are looking into gender issues, and I say, okay, if I can use technology to go and empower women in different situations and teach them and then I can go into the next stage. So, but each SDG is different, and each SDG gets a contribution from tourism and from technology.
And what would you say to people that say that actually we should travel less and that's better for the planet, and maybe have these kind of, as you said, these virtual experiences? What would you say there?
This is a sensitive issue, and again, yesterday I was driving a lot yesterday, so I was listening to the radio, and the people are making choices like, I'm not going to fly, I'm going to go by train, or I'm going to look into different things. So sustainability is an important thing, and we really need to look into how we do our bit for things. But quite often, people are a little bit hypocritical about sustainability. I need to be careful what I'm going to say here. We are doing okay. I'm going to places about sustainability. They've got the air conditioning at 17 degrees. They're all wearing jackets and ties, so they need more air conditioning to compensate for the energy that they're losing. They're all drinking out of plastic bottles. So the God, you know, the Pope of Rome is going to do something about sustainability, but we're not doing our own bit. Having said that, I think the solution again is going to come from technology, because technology will bring new renewable energies that they have less impact. But equally, each of us will need to take responsibility for what we do. Also, sustainability is not only about the environment. Because yes, you can sustain the environment, no activity is happening, but the community is not going to get any benefits. So if nobody goes to Rovaniemi and see Santa Claus and be a tourist and go with the reindeers again, the Lapu community is suffering. So the sustainability of the community is not there. So again, sustainability is much more complicated, and we really need to have holistic approaches. And I think technology is going to bring the energy efficiency and the solutions to actually reduce environmental impact.
Sorry, I just wanted to say one more thing. Again, it's connected. So I try to lead a sustainable life as possible when I am home, but when I travel, I become a lot less sustainable. So have you looked at that?
Sarah Dolniker is looking to intention versus reality. So how many times do you change the towels in your room? And you know, how many times do you change? I'm having a conversation with hoteliers right now, and I said, look, at home, do you change your bedding every day? You don't. Why do we change it in a 5-star hotel? And you know, give the choice to people to do it. So we are start getting into this. The other thing is that food waste. People are going to the buffet. At home, they are just, especially now with the price of food, at home they go to a restaurant, and especially on a buffet all-inclusive kind of thing. I used to work in the Club Med. We used to have a sketch like that. You take a plate and you're building it. And then after a while, your stomach starts saying, stop, I cannot do that anymore. And all of this going food waste. If it's plated, it goes food waste. So Sarah is not my area, but Sarah is doing several things. They're trying smaller plates. So you can say you can go to the buffet 30 times, but you'll take a smaller plate. So there are techniques that and also they make people aware of their behavior, what they do and what they don't do, and things like that. The problem we find is that in a 5-star hotel, you know, you've paid £500 to be there for one day. And if I keep telling you, this is not, don't do this, you'll kind of say, hey, you're taking away from my value. So it's a real balance between all of those things.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for your great insight. And just want to find out, do you research on robotic service quality? Is something emerging?
Meaning?
Like, you know, the difference between customer expectation and the real experience differentiation?
Yeah, of course.
Right, so what are the implications you think?
In terms of robots?
Robotic service quality.
Okay. Okay, there are a lot of different things. First of all, people expect that robots will do all kinds of things like a human being, and they're comparing apples with pears, because what's happening is that the robot is a machine programmed to do several things. Okay. Now, there's an intention that human beings are better than robots. People are thinking that in their mind. And I say, okay, it can be, but can be exactly the opposite. Okay. So I think the expectations that we're putting on robotics are much higher than what they can actually deliver, number one. Number two, because robots are effectively operating on artificial intelligence and gradually have machine learning improving their knowledge, they are also improving their thing. Hopefully human beings will be more empathetic. As a hotel manager, restaurant manager, you come to me, I have a look at you, and you call it stereotyping, you call it whatever, but I know when someone is exhausted and needs a glass of whiskey or a chamomile tea. I just know. 30 years of this business, 43 years in this business, I know when someone needs a chamomile and when someone needs a double whiskey. A robot will never know, I hope, because that will be my job gone, right? Going back to your but what's going to happen is that gradually robots will learn emotions. Japanese are getting married to robots right now. And in fact, they'll be better. No, I never said that. Never said that. But they'll be more consistent in sentiment and how they operate. And I don't know. We're going a little bit far. But there's issues related to these things that robots are learning fast. The other thing is that I keep saying that we should not make anthropomorphic robots, because we communicate an expectation that cannot be there. So if the job of the robot is taking my suitcase to my room, it doesn't need to look like a human. It needs to look like a truck. If it's a barman, possibly, but if it's a barman, I need to have a conversation. If it's like the arm that is just shaking, that's a process, I'm shaking your cocktail, I'm serving it. That's a different thing that Peter, who has been in this business for 25 years, you go there and Peter is doing a priest job, you're going for confession. Hi Peter, today I've been a bad boy because I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, right? So it's a different function. By doing anthropomorphic robots, we are shooting ourselves on the foot because we are creating expectations that cannot be fulfilled. Cannot.
There is another question.
Thank you very much.
You had a question? No, I'm giving you
I'm sorry, I'm being so excited because you are
You're
one
excited?
of. Yeah, 'cause-
I'm so excited!
Well, I'm so excited to meet you in person.
I
'Cause
exist,
you
it's
are-
not my avatar, right?
No, because you are one of my favorite scholars I look up to. But because my student, when I do my PhD, my studentship is in smart tourism.
Oh,
So the first 3 days I was doing smart tourism recommender system. So in my literature review, there are a lot of your articles that you show.
so you suffer
Takes it together.
There's a picture,
Yeah.
You picture together.
the person who suffered most.
Thank you.
So what I'm doing now is user-generated content, like travel vlogs. So my question is, how do you see it? Because I did YouTube. How do you see the difference YouTube and TikTok like travel vlogs and VR and live streaming like travel videos? How do you see it?
I think it's all in the same family of things. I've got a PhD, Chinese PhD who's doing streaming right now, Kaiti. And it's almost a little bit of a generation thing. The old guys were still doing YouTube. The young guys came in TikTok. I was supposed to go to TikTok. Then they said it's not safe. The government says, oh, so I didn't get into TikTok. They're all different platforms. Ultimately, it's how you communicate, and TikTok is easier in a way because it's more intuitive, the platform is easier to operate. And Chinese are going, are you Chinese by? Yeah. Streaming is very huge in China right now. In other places, streaming is not a thing. If you're going to talk about streaming in Germany, for example, they say privacy and stuff like that. So different platforms, different generations, different cultures they're playing with, but ultimately it's user-generated content that's used in different things. And ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, effectively what's going to do one day is pick up service from wherever content it is. It doesn't matter which platform it is, and will aggregate it to the thing that you really want to do. So if you're looking at the Portara in Naxos, the Temple of Apollo, and you say, I want to do, I don't know, Temple of Apollo, geotagging, tagging from the different text, all of these things, they'll say, okay, you are talking about this thing. So they'll create a reconstruction of this based on different content that's coming from wherever it's coming. So I wouldn't really, so different people have got different audience, they're using different things, but ultimately all that's aggregated.
So how do you see it fit into the smart ecosystem?
The ecosystem is creating value, right? So wherever that bit of information is on user-generated content, it comes and fits like a Lego into the value co-creation. So you probably will need an aggregator somewhere where they collect all this content and then they put together, they package together before you get access to it. For the time being, it's raw data. You can see YouTube, you can see TikTok, or you can see something else. But AI is going to come and collect all that and say, Jung, have a look on this. Yeah, that's my prediction.
There is a question from Mexico.
Mexico. Hola, Mexico! Greetings, really amazing presentation. Hola, thank you. According to our experience, do you think that using it is in energy or water management, hospitality management, and how would that impact in tourism experience? I think, what do I think? I think artificial intelligence and data in particular will tell us exactly what is happening. So if I'm looking to a hotel complex, a resort, and I look into where energy is being consumed, hopefully I'll be in a situation to be able to understand what can I do to reduce energy consumption or water consumption. But it's really, I remember years ago, they called Nedel in Bangkok, which now does not exist. It's where the Paragon shopping center is. It had botanic gardens, and what they used to do is they used to take the water, treat the water, and take the water into watering the botanic gardens. This didn't have to do with AI. This example of 30 years ago. But what AI can do is accurately, data can do is accurately measure different things, and AI can help us in measuring, predicting, and improving the situation. So you may say, if my swimming pool is not used during this time, I'm not going to heat it. Okay, so what I'm gonna use the energy from there for the swimming pool at that time, and the energy from there for water in the rooms at that time. For example, if people are going to the beach, right, they go 9 to 5 normally. So what happens is that between 9 and 7, you need so much hot water that the systems cannot be able to do it because everybody is having a shower before they go for dinner, right? So you've got a peak of an hour and a half that and people are calling you in the hotel and saying, hola señor, I don't have hot water in my room. And of course you cannot have hot water in your room because another 1,000 people are having cold water in there, right? But what you do is, if you can predict demand, and you store these because you know what's going to happen, and at that time you don't use the energy for the swimming pool, but you use the energy for this, this kind of stuff. But I'm not an engineer for doing these things. It's really about understanding data and using the data to create solutions. Okay?
Okay, do we have any questions for those who are in Teams now?
I'm going for 2 hours. Now I'm start charging over time now.
Thank you so much. Sorry.
Sorry, I had a question. First of all, it feels so good to be back. I feel like I'm back in my old classroom again.
She suffered enough, and she comes for more. What?
My question is more research-based. So, in your presentation, you showed that you asked ChatGPT to write a research paper for you, and it did it in a matter of minutes. How is it going to affect future research students? So, right now, when I am going for my PhD, I know I have to do a lot of research myself, but say in a few months' time, I can just ask ChatGPT to write my whole thesis. How is that going to affect future students?
This is the question that everybody has got in academia with the students and everything that what's going to happen. Now, what's happening is that ChatGPT is creating text based on its understanding of what's happening. This is not accurate. It was decent. I just tried it and then I tried it to see how the technology is used. That's a very tough question because I don't know the answer. Because universities around the world, they're bringing policies to say you are not allowed to, and publishers says you are not allowed to use chat.
Are they using it to turn it into
it becomes much more clever in that. But the reason why I've got hesitation is I remember 30 years ago, 25 years ago, had a huge debate whether we allowed calculators to go into the exams or whether we expect people to do the calculations themselves. And then there was a matter of translation and dictionaries. Can we have a dictionary with us? So a lot of these things are always coming in with the new technologies. And I think what's going to happen with ChatGPT and artificial intelligence is that humans will become much more stupid. Humans will become much more stupid. Because if you don't train your brain to actually find solutions, people will become much more stupid. I mean, look at the level of maths in this country. It's phenomenally low. I started using, what do we used to call it at that time? TomTom. You don't know what TomTom. TomTom used to be Google Maps, effectively. Satellite. No, because what happened is that TomTom was the innovation that did the satellite navigation, and now everybody's using Google Maps because Google Maps took over. But now I don't know how to go from my office to my home without satellite navigation. I cannot, And I'm supposed to do this thing every day. I don't know how to do it, and I'm constantly looking for update of the information. Where's the traffic jam? All of those things. If my Google Maps does not work, I'm struggling. Okay, I'll find a way, but I'm struggling. So what's happening is that we are destroying human intelligence because the machine is taking over that bit of intelligence.
Do you think academia would accept having ChatGPT as a supporting source for research?
I don't think we have a choice. I think it's a reality. It happened. It's like my mother was going to work by donkey, and then the tractors came along, then the cars came along. Nobody went back to donkey because it was not effective. But the question is, how do we use it, and how do we use it cleverly, and what's going to happen? Because on the one side, what you're thinking is, oh, my life will become easier because that is going to write my essay. What the university is thinking here is that I don't need 500 people. I need 20 people to supervise that, and then the students are going to do it. And then the students are thinking, I don't need university. I can find all the information online.
Well, I'll alternately, do you think professors would use this technology to just grade the papers instead of reading it themselves?
Ultimately, would professors exist?
They should.
Okay, I mean, let's face it. Would professors exist? What do professors do? And if you look at the vast majority of the professors, do they really create new knowledge, and they really use their brain to actually create new knowledge, or do they take Buhalis books and they teach them?
We're not transmitters of knowledge at university. Maybe in Cambridge in the Middle Ages that was the role of a lecturer. Not these days. I always tell all colleagues we cannot replace YouTube or Google. We are not transmitting knowledge. We are helping students to process information, to learn. So this is, for me, this is not an issue really, ChatGPT at all.
So
we are adapting already, and I don't see it as a danger.
So we're holding the hand of the student.
No, we are guiding them in the right direction because there's so much information now. They don't know how to filter it, how to navigate. And that's what we're helping them with.
I think academics do two things. One is they generate knowledge, and the second thing is disseminate knowledge.
Yes.
And what you're describing is the dissemination of knowledge.
Yes.
Perhaps we'll only need PhDs to generate knowledge, create things, and then we'll need what we call teaching assistants to actually help people get it. Guys, this is really dangerous territory. Seriously. And we're not going back. Okay. I can see benefits, but it's really dangerous territories. I was in Santorini, and you had these guys with the donkeys that they were taking people up on the cliff, right? And now they've got the funicular, whatever you call it, this thing that's taking. But they did a deal. They take money from the people who are going the funicular because of the regulation that came in and said, these guys, they make a living. So give them money for the donkey that they don't use. I don't know. We really need to, but it's a different era. What I know is that it's changing, and what they keep me paying to do is tell them how to manage this transition in the best possible way. So hopefully my job will be okay. Okay, but it's really we're moving, we're changing.
Yeah.
It's really difficult, different era, and we need to understand this. So thank you very much. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
You know where to find me, buhalis.com. Keep in touch. Let me know if you would like to collaborate, do great things, and have some fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dimitrios,
Yay.
all of us? Yes, everyone?
I come just for a picture.
What is that?
Where's the robot?